ladies and gentlemen. We are filming here on October 8th for October 9th. And here is the situation as of now. For the first time in Divisional Series history in Major League Baseball, all four series are tied at 1.
Yep.
This has never happened before. At the same time, you got the Cincinnati Reds with a different direction. You got the Cleveland Browns. Oh, I don't want to talk about that right away.
No.
But you have an important game for the Ohio State Buckeyes coming this weekend, and MAC football is playing another way. This is 10 Cent Beer Night, the official sports show of FifthDimensionRadio.com every Wednesday, 7:30 to 8:30 p.m. Eastern Time. I'm Seth.
I'm Bob.
And real quick, we do want to dedicate the show to two legends. Since our last show, we've had some guys pass as of this morning. Louis Tiant.
Louis Tiant?
Tiant, yep. Former Red Sox and Dodgers pitcher passed away this morning. Bob, you had mentioned off air, he was in Cleveland recently.
Really recently. Him and Dennis Eckersley and Sam McDowell. So up in Cleveland, some sports cards show.
Some legendary Cleveland Indians right there. And then, of course, Bob, the one that kind of shook us last week, after we lost the legendary, his name is slipping my mind, Dikembe Mutombo. We lost Pete Rose.
Pete Rose.
You know, and I hate to say, we got to just be honest with ourselves. He's now going to probably go in the Hall of Fame now.
He's probably going to the Hall of Fame now. Personally, to me, that's a slap in the face.
It is. It absolutely is.
You know, because, I mean, he should have been there, period.
Right.
When his 5 years was up, he should have been in there.
Right. I agree, fully agree, and I think he was wrong there. It's sad, but at least I will say the positive, at least we'll finally get to see him there, but he won't get to see himself there. That's the part that hurts.
With the sports writers, they still not vote him in, but the Veterans Committee could put him in.
I think it's a done deal. You see this stuff all the time. Even like, for example, in music, you'll have a legend that never won a Grammy that died. And the next year, Grammy Awards nominate him. They didn't even play. They don't give them the awards. So
speaking of the Grammy Awards, going off subject for a second here. I just heard today that Foreigner is going to the Hall of Fame, and they should have been there a long time ago.
There's a lot of artists that should have been there a long time ago.
And they got two of their guys, two of their performers are gone.
Right. Oh, there's a whole. We're not going to get into that. Where we literally could have a whole show on the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame and who they have not put in that is eligible and should be in there by now. Yeah. But that's all. But yeah, I mean, yeah, it stinks for those two guys because those guys. I mean, they've been around for quite some time. They had a bunch of bands and
big hits in the 70s and 80s
that leaped over them. And then now those guys aren't around. And I get it. It's rock stars. You don't know what was in their system when it happened. All this. I'm not accusing them of that. But, that kind of thing does happen. And you can't control when somebody's going to die. But it's like, realistically, if they should have went in when they,
well, they said they were eligible 15 years ago. I heard that today. 15 years ago they was eligible. They just now got in. They had some classic hits over the years.
Right. They have, and people still rave about their shows there. But it just... Hey, they had it, though. That's the thing. Hall of Fame or not, they had a great career. They had a great life. And same thing he said with Pete Rose.
Let's go back to Pete. Pete should have been there. When his 5 years was up, he should have been there.
Right.
What he did was a cardinal sin, but it wasn't that he did it. He bet it for his team to win.
Right.
As a manager.
Right.
It wasn't during his playing career.
Right, yeah. And I think on top of that, and I know this was a while ago, I know that was frowned upon, but now, okay, gambling's legal.
Gambling's legal all over the place.
Yeah, and I will say they are cracking down on athletes. You saw, I can't think of his name, but that Raptors player, I don't know if you paid attention to that. He's suspended for life in the NBA. This happened late last year.
When did this happen? I didn't know that.
He was a rookie, like a prospect. He came off the bench. And all of a sudden, DraftKings noticed, hey, this guy, he doesn't do a lot on the court, but people bet against him and they're winning a lot of money. He was telling, him and his friends got together, had a little group, and said, okay, we're going to bet on you to get this many rebounds, this many. And again, we're talking 9 points, 4 rebounds, nothing big. And he would get there around that. And so they were winning all this money on his little part. Like they were just having a parlay of just him. And he would set it up where it's like, okay, I'm only going to do this and control. Because when he went in the game, the game was over. They either got blown out or they were blowing the team out. And Raptors weren't that great last year, so they were getting blown out a lot. And so the DraftKings picked up on it. They get a hold of the NBA and say, hey, we're noticing this is happening, and we don't even know who this guy is. and so he got caught.
I'm beginning to wonder, and the big one is the National Football League.
Right.
I am beginning to wonder about that. You got officials. The average official in the NFL, $60,000 to $100,000 a year is what they make. You got a couple guys that are making $1 million now. I mean, they're literally showing $1 million coming in. Ever since legal gambling, are these guys? That's a conspiracy theory now.
Conspiracy, maybe. It's
especially a lot of with the Chiefs.
Right. Yeah,
those two bad calls. It wasn't. I mean, two calls that we think were bad. The same official that called one of them was on the field for the next game. He didn't call that one, but he was there. So it just
makes you wonder.
It's a conspiracy thing, but
yeah, I mean, the NBA caught the refs in that situation years ago. Tim Donaghy, who got in trouble, said it's still going on. I wouldn't rule it out. I really wouldn't.
I mean, because illegalized game, these guys can make their own bets now.
Right. Well, no, they can't. They're not. If they
they're
get
not
caught,
supposed to.
Yeah.
It's the same way with the owners in horse racing.
But you can't control their wives.
You can't control their wives.
The brother-in-laws, the cousin. Yeah, I mean,
legally, a horse owner, and we'll go, cannot bet on their horse. They can bet on any other horse at the track, but they cannot bet on theirs. But that's not saying my wife, my girlfriend, whatever, can go up there and make a bet for me.
Right, absolutely. Yeah, you never know. But here's, so our thoughts, prayers, vibes, everything, reach out to those families there. Something good happen to the Cincinnati Reds following Pete Rose's death, though, Bob. You know, I gave speculation.
You said that the last show, we brought that up.
You weren't sure. You said, I don't see it happening, and it happened.
It happened.
Terry Francona unretires, and he will now be the manager. Introduced yesterday, it's official. He's now the new manager of the Cincinnati Reds. And
I read something online yesterday. Of course, I don't believe a lot of stuff I read online.
Right.
But I didn't read it. They're saying now that possibly he had a little misunderstanding with the Cleveland front office when he was in Cleveland.
There's been a lot of that. Actually, I had a guy get mad at me for saying that online.
But it was brought. I read the article, and of course it didn't come out and say what it was about.
Right.
And so he decided just to leave and retire. But now he's in Cincinnati. So now I'm starting to wonder, was there a problem in Cleveland?
I absolutely think there was something there. Now, I will say Stephen Vogt has done an incredible job.
Oh, he done a heck of a job.
Yeah, and I think I agree with you. I mean, I think American League Manager of the Year should definitely go to him. But, I mean, this is exciting for Cincinnati. This is the guy you want in this position. You have a great young roster. I mean, guys that are ready to take off. You saw not just Ellie De La Cruz and the noise he made, but Hunter Green and the noise he made. You did have some injuries. Some guys did not get to develop like you want to this year because of a lot of injuries. But you have the guy now that is going to make things happen. You have the guy that's going to properly develop these players. And here's the thing is, I'm not going to say hundreds of millions of dollars or anything crazy, but he's there, and it's telling me Reds are going to start spending some money. They're going to get some key guys in with these younger guys, and they're going to make a bigger push to be a playoff team. But watch out for Cincinnati now going forward. And I will tell you, for any Cleveland fan that said he was a traitor, you're out of your mind.
You're out of your mind.
Absolutely. The guy gave his all. The best record in Cleveland history. Best. I mean, better than Mike Hargrove. Better than it's slipping my mind. Lou Boudreau.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, he had the best. He gave what we went through in the 2010s was basically the 90s all over again with just a little better pitching and a little less explosive hitting. But you had the wins. Nobody had more wins in Major League Baseball in the 2010s. Mind you, they were bad through 2010, 11, 12 than the Cleveland Indians did. I mean, look it up. And that's what this guy gave to us. He was a win away from a World Series. I will say, it was mostly his fault why it didn't happen. And I blame not just people bring up the rain delay. That's not what I'm talking about. He should have had a fourth pitcher. Sean Merritt came in the ALCS, closed it out, had a heck of a game. He should have been involved in the World Series. Give those pitchers another day or two of rest, and that didn't happen. I think that Merritt may have lost. They may have lost that game. Merritt pitched anyway in that series, whether they did or not. But Kluber, Bauer, and Tomlin needed more rest, and they didn't get it. And it costed them, and it wore out the bullpen arms, and that's what I blame for not winning the World Series there. But it is what it is. That was a special year, and then the Cubs, of course, broke the curse, and they deserve that too. But Terry, we wish you the absolute best in Cincinnati. We'll be definitely paying a close eye attention there. Now we got to talk about the playoffs, and since our last Tinset Beer Night show, this is what went down. Mets beat the Brewers, okay? Padres, who did they beat? I'm trying to go by memory here. The Braves.
Braves.
And that was an upset in my mind too.
Yeah, a lot of people had the Braves to go all the way.
Right. I did last year. I didn't this year.
But they had some injuries and stuff early.
Royals upset the Orioles. Tigers upset the Astros. So what we thought was the weakest division in baseball was actually the strongest.
Strongest division in baseball.
And like I said, we're now at 1-1. Yesterday, the Guardians lost to the Tigers 3-0 after a 3-run home run by Detroit in the ninth inning. Clase gave it, the big surprise. Clase, out of everybody, gave up the home run.
But he's still the best.
Right.
He's still the best closer.
Absolutely. It was just a hiccup, but this is, again, the first time in Major League Baseball history we're at 1-1 for all four series. And Royals upset the Yankees 4-2 yesterday. So they're in the thick of things. For today, I'll read you off this week. At 5 p.m. tonight, Phillies and Mets.
This is on a Tuesday, so.
Yeah, this is on Tuesday, so you'll know the results when you listen to this. Nola versus Mania. In that game, Dodgers and Padres, and we're going to have Walker Buehler versus Michael King. They were talking this morning about the Juan Soto trade between the Padres and Yankees and how that was a win-win. They got Michael King out of that deal. King has pitched very well this year. A lot of people view him as their ace now. Juan Soto, of course, has done very well with the Yankees and the other pieces they got. Watch out for this game because here's the thing. Walker Buehler has not been good this year. He is still recovering from that injury. He missed like a year and a quarter of baseball because of Tommy John surgery and everything. But he has not, he had maybe 2 good games this entire year. So this is a lot of pressure on him. I'm shocked he's actually starting this game. And I think the only reason is because Kershaw was hurt and he didn't make the lineup for the NLDS. But I think the big shocker was the last game. They had John Flaherty on the mound, who's been absolutely rock solid for them since the trade deadline. And Padres absolutely lit him up. So this is going to be interesting. And for why this is critical, Dodgers have lost the past 2 NLDSs to a division rival. And the Padres was 2 years ago. Could it happen again? And this game is going to be very critical towards that. It's going to be tough. Wednesday, you're going to have...
the Guardians are in Detroit.
Yep, they're in Detroit. They're the first game at 3 p.m. Alex Cobb versus Herder, the Brant Herder here. And Herder's had a pretty solid season, too, as a young starting pitcher. He's a lefty, so they're going to have to put out their right-handed bats, and the right-handed bats need to show up here. So that's going to be a tough matchup there. 5 p.m. also will be...
Did they say who the starter for Cleveland is?
Yeah, it's Alex Cobb.
Oh, that's right.
Right. 5 p.m. will be Philly and the Mets again, and so this will be Ranger Suarez versus Jose Quintina. I haven't heard that name in a while. Suarez was one of the top pitchers in the first half of the season, and then he had a little bit of injury and he was not the same the second half. And Quintina won 10 games this year, so that's going to be an interesting match. And that could be a deciding fact. You never know, depending who wins tonight. 7 p.m. tomorrow, the New York Yankees will play the Kansas City Chiefs. And
Kansas City Royals.
Sorry. We got to talk about the damn Chiefs, and there you go. That will be Clark Schmidt versus Seth Lugo. Lugo has had a heck of a season.
He's had a great year.
He was an all-star too, and I mean, yeah, 16-9 record. I mean, just absolute and 2.0. No, I think that's his. Playoff ERA is 2.08. But Clay Schmidt, a good young arm there going on the hill for the Yankees, and then you'll have Dodgers and Padres. Everybody's playing tomorrow. You will have rookie Landon Knack for the Dodgers. Solid rookie. Inconsistent. There'll be games where he'll pitch you 6, 7 great innings, and then there'll be games where he'll pitch you 3 or 4 bad ones. And then he'll go up against Dylan Cease, the former White Sox ace there. Dylan, a lot of strikeouts, but is prone to giving up a lot of runs too. It just depends. Again, inconsistency. You don't know what kind of day you're going to have from him. He was 14-11 this season. So to give you a gist of like how Dylan rolls, I mean, he'll get you a lot of strikeouts, but he also might give up a lot of hits and runs at the same time. So that's what you're looking for if that's what you're looking at right now. If necessary, Thursday, Cleveland and Detroit will play at 6, and New York and Kansas City will play at 8.
If they're all in 1-1, they got to win 3. So yeah. You're right. If necessary.
Wait, no. You're right. You call me out on that because that would only be
that'd be 2-1.
Yeah, that'd be 2-1. So yeah, that those games for sure happen Thursday. Excuse me. I'm thinking National League here. If necessary, on Friday you'll have both National League teams start. But both National League games there. And then if necessary on Saturday, the American League if anybody's left. So a lot going on, a lot of excitement, a lot of tough baseball. Of course, Tigers and Mets were the hottest teams in their own leagues going into the playoffs, and now they've both tied it at 1-1 here. So it's going to be very, very, and they're both at home now.
Yeah, it's going to be tough. It's going to be tough. But I think we got past their best pitcher.
He'll be the Cy Young Award.
Yeah, he's definitely going to be Cy Young Award. But we got to take 1 out of 2 in Detroit.
If not both. I mean, there's.
Well, I'd like to see him take both.
I mean, there's going to be a lot of Cleveland fans in Detroit too. That's the nice thing about this series. Cleveland fans will travel to and they do that during the regular season games too. Yeah, there's a lot of Cleveland fans that go to Detroit. So this is not completely just. It might be. They might be away, but they're going to have a lot of fans.
And they're two pretty close teams. I mean, the season series was Cleveland 7-6.
Yeah, you're talking 2.5 hours, if that, to get between the two stadiums there.
I mean, the record-wise, Cleveland only beat them 7-6 in the series.
Right.
In 13 games. So.
And you got a rookie manager going up against a World Series manager. Now, hopefully, they won't cheat on this like that World Series manager did back in Houston. But
that was in Houston. You know.
I mean,
Houston's gone. They're history.
They are gone.
If you can't cheat, you can't win.
Absolutely. We got to take a break. When we come back, Ohio State has a big matchup against Oregon this weekend. And Zips.
Oh, well.
It's getting better. We'll talk about it. Stay tuned. Welcome back to 10 Cent Beer Night here on FifthDimensionRadio.com. Thank you for joining us today. Crazy week in college football last weekend. Crazy. So here were the upsets that were made in the top 25 in last weekend. Number 25, UNLV lost to Syracuse last Friday, 44-41. Syracuse improves to 4-1. UNLV also is 4-1 there. This was a good game. I watched it. Southern Mississippi beat number 22, Louisville, 34-27. That was my game of the week. Just as far as just watching a good game, that was just such a good game. And so I'm pretty sure Southern Mississippi, that is now 5-1. I'm pretty sure they're ranked now. But I mean, like both teams played actually very well despite the result there. Number 9 Missouri got blown out by number 25 Texas A&M, 41-10. Missouri drops down to 4-1. Texas A&M goes to 5-1. Let me see here. Look at that. Of course, unless you didn't hear, Vanderbilt beat Bama, number 1 Bama, 35-40, and Bama was about to make a comeback, and then there was like an interception or something at the end there. And Vanderbilt was partying it up.
I'd be partying in.
There you go.
Cocky
Absolutely.
party.
Number 4. This was another big upset. Number 4 Tennessee lost to unranked Arkansas 19-14. Tennessee drops to 4-1. Arkansas is 4-2. Number 11 USC lost to their first-time conference rival Minnesota 24-17, and Minnesota was not ranked. So,
Welcome to the Big Ten.
yeah, USC is going to drop some more there. The team up north got upsetted too. In Washington, they played their new conference rival. Their number
Could you call it an upset? Though Washington usually got a pretty decent team.
Washington was not ranked.
Yeah, but they usually got a pretty good
They
team.
do. I'm not taking away. They're both 4-2 now, but yeah, Michigan was number 10, and Washington ranked 27-17.
But I'm just glad that team up north got beat.
And again, too, by the way, so they're like one loss away from forgetting about defending the title there. And we almost, I'm going to throw this one out, they won, but number 8 Miami beat California, unranked California, 39-38. So there was almost another big upset there. But all this, I mean, everything is crazy right now. So that your new number 1 is Texas, your new number 2 is Ohio State, and your new number 3 with the matchup this weekend is Oregon. So this is going to be a big week there.
Where's that game at? Is it in Columbus?
It is in Oregon.
Oh, wow.
It is in Oregon. Yeah, and number 1 Texas go play number 18 Oklahoma. Looking for other ranked matchups. Number 9 Ole Miss is going to play number 13 LSU. That's going to be a great game. That's going to be a fantastic. So we have a couple good games to look out for. Your Big Ten results, other than the ones that we had mentioned. Number 6 Oregon beat Michigan State 31-10. You had Penn State beat UCLA 27-11. Wisconsin just destroyed Purdue 52-6. We didn't mention, but Ohio State beat Iowa 35-7. That was a good game there. Indiana beat Northwestern 41-24. Nebraska beat Rutgers 14-7, and then we mentioned the rest already. Your upcoming games for this week for the Big Ten. On Friday on Fox, Northwestern will be at Maryland. I think Maryland's going to get that. They are the 10-point favorites in that one. Going to Saturday at noon on the Big Ten Network, Wisconsin's going to take on Rutgers. At noon on Fox, Washington is going to take on Iowa. 3:30 p.m. on FS1, Purdue's going to take on number 23 Illinois. 3:30 p.m. on CBS, number 4 Penn State will be at USC. And 7:30 p.m. on NBC, number 2 Ohio State will be at number 3 Oregon. Like we mentioned, both 5-0 there. Ohio State favored by 3.5 points there.
Are they really?
Yeah. I should mention the other one's favored. Rutgers is favored over Wisconsin by 2.5. Iowa was favored over Washington by 2.5. See, I think that would be the other way around. But that's just me there. I would say take Washington in that one.
I would take Washington.
Illinois is favored by 19.5 points over Purdue. I agree with that one. Penn State's favored by 5.5 points to USC. That might be even a little bit more. And then Minnesota's favored against UCLA. That's Big Ten Network at 9 p.m. Minnesota at UCLA. Minnesota's favored by 5.5. I kind of see that one too. So that is your Big Ten for the weekend. Last weekend in the MAC. We got to talk about it.
Yeah.
Bowling Green beat Akron 27-20. It was at least a good game. And here's the thing: when those results came in, one of the first thing that was said by Bowling Green fans is, "We actually beat Akron finally." So despite all Akron's struggles, Bowling Green did not forget. This is the one team we cannot beat, and we finally beat them there. So Bowling Green improves to 2-3. Akron's 1-5. But I will say, Akron fought. They fell short. But this was one of their better losses.
This is one of the better losses.
Where you look and say, okay, there's hope in the rest of the MAC. Okay, this wasn't a blowout by any means.
I don't know if there's any hope in the rest of the MAC, but okay.
UMass lost to Northern Illinois 20-34. Northern Illinois improves to 3-2. UMass is 1-5. Western Michigan beat Ball State 45-42, and Indiana. Western Michigan's now 2-3. Ball State's 1-4. And then Miami of Ohio lost to Toledo in Toledo 20-30. Miami of Ohio drops to 1-4. They're having a rough year. I mean, that's usually one of the better teams in the MAC. Toledo 4-1, as you know, Toledo's usually very, very good. So going on to, I can't believe it, we're here, week 7 of college football here. At noon on ESPNU, 4-1 Toledo will go against 3-2 Buffalo. Toledo is favored by 9.5 points. Noon on ESPN Plus. 1-4 Ball State will be at Dick Stadium as they take on the Kent Golden Flashes there. Ball State is favored by 6.5 points.
Really?
Yeah, I can see that.
With Kent's got one win, don't they?
No, they're 0-5.
They're 0-5.
They had a bye week last week. Yeah, 2 p.m. at ESPN Plus. Miami of Ohio will be at Eastern Michigan, and Eastern Michigan is 4-1. They're having a good year. They really are. Miami, as I mentioned, Miami of Ohio is 1-5, 1-4. However, Miami of Ohio is favored by 3 points in this one. So 3:30 p.m. on ESPN Plus. You have Northern Illinois at Bowling Green. Northern Illinois got 3 wins. Bowling Green's got 2. Bowling Green is favored by 3 in that one. At 3:30 p.m. at Western Michigan, Akron comes to town. Akron 1-5, Western Michigan 2-3, and Western Michigan is favored by 9.5 points. And then at 4 p.m. on ESPNU, Ohio 3-2 will be at Central Michigan 3-2, and Ohio is favored by 3.5 points. Akron's just got to find a way to beat Western Michigan here. This is not a team they can't beat. There's a chance. Looking at some stats here, Ben Finley here, over 1,061 yards passing, 7 touchdowns, 6 interceptions. Their quarterback, 907 yards, but 7 touchdowns, 2 interceptions. Yeah, Finley's just thrown too many picks. I know he's played Ohio State, he's played South Carolina and whatnot, but he's got to just turn the ball over less. Simmons only has 255 yards and 1 touchdown after when he's been given the ball, he's done much with it.
Is that going to have a bye week yet?
Not yet.
I don't think they have, but they need one.
Let me see here. It will be after the Western Michigan game. The weekend of the 19th, they are off. And then...
the sad thing about it is I got season tickets for the Zips, for basketball and football. I have yet to go to one of their games, I can't even give the tickets away. Nobody wants them, But... And I'm an Akron fan. I'll support my Zip. I'll buy the tickets, but I don't know.
Right.
I just can't wait till November 3rd.
What's November 3rd?
For home game. For the basketball.
Oh, for basketball.
For
okay.
basketball, yeah.
That's a Sunday, yeah. There.
I'll be at most of the basketball games.
Yes, you will.
Yes,
you definitely will.
I'll sit there in the cheap seats, drinking my ice cold Coca-Cola, eating my popcorn, and watching the Zips basketball.
Well, the football team's at home the day before if you want to go to that. But no, as far as Akron football, there are some realistic games they could win here in the MAC.
Yeah, I know.
This is a big one because here's the thing: is looking ahead, and we'll break it down as they come in. But you have Western Michigan this weekend. After their bye week, they have Eastern Michigan. Mind you, they're good this year. So you got to watch out for that. Then you have Buffalo, who is not as good as they used to be, but they weren't last year, and they beat them up. Remember, that was a bad one. That was their worst MAC loss, I think. And then you go to Northern Illinois, who beat Notre Dame, but they're struggling against the MAC.
They're struggling against the MAC.
Right. Then you go at Kent State. That's one you should win, and then you end things with Toledo. So,
I see possible 2 wins of them.
Right.
Of their
but that's why if you
games.
can find a way to beat Western Michigan, it's big because it's like, okay, now you set yourself up for a 4, 5, maybe 6 game win season with what is left. And I say maybe because it's like, look, it's tough down the stretch. You got 3 teams. I don't know if I have confidence that they're going to beat, but there's also 3 teams I'm like, okay, they could do that.
I just wonder if Moorhead.
Will he still be here?
Will he be here next year?
I'd say if he doesn't hit the 5-game mark, I can see him.
Because it's been, what is his 4th year?
This is 3rd.
3rd year?
Yeah.
And personally, I see the improvement in the players.
Right.
You ain't seeing the improvement in the
right.
The win-loss column.
If he definitely lost out from here, I think he's gone. Especially if he loses to Kent.
They could,
because Kent is like we talk about Akron. Kent is terrible.
They're terrible this year.
They're awful.
This might be their worst team They've had a long time.
Right. And it goes to show you getting the wrong coach, how much it affects. Because a few years ago, they had one of the most budding head coach prospects.
Kent State did.
Yeah.
Of course, he ended up moving on.
He went to be offensive coordinator at Colorado.
Yeah. With Barry Sanders or
Deion.
Deion Sanders.
Deion Sanders there, yeah. And
But
they just switched coaches. You know, some of the guys stuck around and everything. And you see just a downfall. And it's nothing against this guy. I mean, he's doing the best he can. But, I mean, it does matter who's behind
2 years ago or last year, they went to a bowl game.
They won their first bowl game with the last coach. But they went to back-to-back, I think, yeah. I mean, they looked solid under him. And then he moves on. And then don't forget they had one guy back in the early 2010s. He goes to Purdue and becomes head coach. Does not do very well over there. It didn't pan out, unfortunately.
But you know, they always said the MAC is the cradle of coaches.
It is.
You know, a lot of great coaches came from the MAC. A lot of great coaches.
Absolutely. I mean,
Woody Hayes.
Yeah.
Miami of Ohio.
Yeah. Urban Meyer.
Urban Myers.
Bowling Green.
Bowling Green.
Yeah. Who's the LSU coach? He was with Notre Dame. Brian Kelly. He was it Central Michigan?
He was one of the Michigan schools. Central or Eastern.
Yeah, I mean, but he was there. I like him, but he's kind of just like...
I'm just saying, a lot of good coaches have come out of the MAC, and they don't stay very long.
Central Michigan, I called it.
If you're a good coach in the MAC, you're not staying very long. You're moving up to the big time, bigger boy, the division major ones.
Right, somebody's going to give you a shot.
Yeah,
you know, and it doesn't always pan out. Like I told you about, I can't think of his name at the top of my head, but the coach that went to Purdue, and I mean Purdue, they were okay, but they weren't. They were hoping he would take them off to being a Big Ten competitor consistently, and that had not been the case. So it really.
Well, of course, he really didn't have a great year. And Tom Art, where's he at now?
He's with the Steelers, quarterback coach.
Quarterback coach for the Steelers. Yeah. I mean, he was Akron Youth coach, and they didn't have very good, but he moved on up.
Right.
Moved up, make a lot more money probably.
Right, you know, and Art was a very knowledgeable coach. This wasn't the position for him, you know. And everybody's got that's the thing is everybody's kind of got their stick, their way they do things. Like moving to Ohio State real quick, the famous Jim Tressel, he was an Ohio only guy. He only recruited Ohio. It's got to be Ohio grown. You can be on my team. Won a championship that way. Would he have won many more? Probably not. Now, he didn't always, I should say most, because Terrell Pryor was Pennsylvania, for example. But the vast majority of he didn't just get the best prospects from Ohio. He got other budding prospects, too. Because everybody gets, all the best prospects from Ohio usually end up at Ohio State, especially O-line and defensive line.
Or the team up north.
Right. Right.
A lot of Ohio kids that go up north.
You looked at Urban Meyer, and he's like, if you were good, if you were on the map, he went after you. He wanted you on the team. I mean, he got guys from all over the place just because he wanted to load up. But they did make sure if you were the top prospect in Ohio, they wanted you at Ohio State. But everybody's, you know, and Tom Arth was kind of like, picking at prospects that were realistic. But he didn't get many transfers either. Where Moorhead was getting all these
Moorhead
transfers.
gets the transfers.
Yeah, he does. Yeah, SEC transfers, Big Ten transfers. But that's why I'm thinking, let's say he gets the 4 or 5 win mark here. I know I said 4 might not be enough, but they might say, okay, we'll give you 1 more year. Because they've seen the improvement.
I mean, he's a nice guy in person.
Yeah.
He's really a nice guy, but just
I'm iffy on his offensive system because he's an offensive guy. I mean, the defense has been not bad. I will say that as far as what to expect from an Akron defense, but he's got a weird offensive system that I think, in my opinion, it's kind of been worn down in college. In high school, it would still work, but because that quarterback kind of rollout and then the quarterback sneaks and everything. I mean, I'm not saying quarterback sneaks are overdone in college, but his system is specifically made to just kind of just move the ball in a certain way. Like you for example, they have a good running back. They don't hand it off to him a lot. because with the play calling and the play action, the quarterback either dumps it off or he takes off running. There's always it's just the type of system he's worked. I think this day and age, the college defenses have pretty much have a good lock. I can't think of a bigger school that uses that system and has been successful. That's won a championship even, So, and I get it, like, it's the MAC, it's not a bigger school, but, I mean, this guy called plays for successful Penn State and Oregon teams. He also was at Mississippi State, and it didn't pan out. He got good players. One of them's with the Cleveland Browns right now. Somebody he's raved about. But, it's kind of
I just think Akron needs to go back to the drawing board, start recruiting more locally to get fans in the stands because mom and dad's going to come.
Yeah, and grandma, grandpa, the cousins.
If you recruit a kid in California, 9 out of 10 times the parents ain't going to be.
The parents will be at one game.
And the family might be at one game, or especially if we're out there in the Midwest somewhere playing. But locally, you'll bring the fans and the family members and the friends and stuff will come to a game if they're recruited locally. You know, and I know the size of attendance are at these games. You know how they meet the 17,000 mark to stay Division I. Whoever, I don't know how they get there. Because we know there ain't 17,000 in those stands.
No.
And I love Akron football. I would love to see that play field like in the years ago when the Acme Zip game at their old Rubber Bowl when you had 32,000 people at the game. I'd love to see that happen again.
Right.
But unless we got to get the fans in the stands, and the only way I think you'll get that if you get more local talent on the team.
Right. Well, and I'm going to put my 2 cents in real quick because we're about out of time in this segment. But one thing to look for, and for the record, I'm cheering for Moorhead to work out. I'm cheering for him to be here next year. I like continuity.
I like the guy.
But let's say they let him go. What would be something to look at? One thing that has consistently worked, and I'm not talking about championship. We're talking about Akron football. We're not talking about the big time here. As much as I would love to see them make an effort up there, let's just be realistic.
You're never going to see them in the Rose Bowl or the Orange Bowl or nothing like that. You're never going to see them there unless they're really high ranked.
Unless they beat two big teams and win out the rest of the year. That'd be the only way.
That's the only way you're going to see it.
But to real quick, one strategy that usually works in these type of situations, they're doing it in UCLA right now, who just joined the Big Ten. Bring in an alum to be head coach whose heart is in the program and could lead the way. And Deshaun Foster right now is the head coach of UCLA. He's a motivator. They really, really feed off his energy because he loves UCLA. He wants this to work out. And, he's a rookie coach. He won his first game. The team's not going to be so great this year, but they're building something and the confidence is there. A Charlie Fry, a Jason Taylor, I know this is a wish list right here, would be...
Well, rumor has it Charlie Fry's name was mentioned.
He was interviewed twice for the job before Moorhead got it. And he's still working at, I think he's Penn State's quarterback coach right now. I mean, that would be somebody I would bring in and just say, look, this guy is going to try harder because it means more to him than it would in most of these coaching prospects. That's my food for thought there with the Akron situation. But I want to see Moorhead finish the year as strong as possible so we can talk about him with the team next year. We got to take a break. When we come back, we got to talk about it. Speaking of head coaches not doing their job, and quarterbacks. Browns had probably one of their worst games under Stefanski in the entire Stefanski era this past Sunday. We're going to chew them out and talk about it. We'll be back. All right, welcome back to our last 10-cent beer night. Of course, our NFL segment as it is.
Hey, before we go to the NFL segment,
okay.
I like this shirt. I like that shirt. Look at that. Fritz Racing. Thanks for the support, man.
No problem.
Had 2 winners this week.
2 winners. Fritz Racing. Cheer for the Met.
Northfield Park, Scioto Downs, Dayton Raceway, and the medals.
There you go. Right there. At least somebody's winning around here.
Sure ain't the Browns.
No, it's not. Before we get to that real quick, we did have a breaking news in the NFL this morning Robert Saleh, New York Jets head coach, fired after a 2-3 start. I think that's a little harsh, to be honest with you. Team was not horrible.
I just found out too that they have not made the playoffs in 13 years.
Right, and this was Saleh's third, fourth. Let's see, 21. This would have been his fourth year.
Yeah, fourth
So,
year, but
I mean,
team has not made the playoffs in 13 years. They're the longest running right now.
2-3. You think it's a little early to
Especially when we're 1-4.
Something just doesn't feel right. There's got to be more to it. But best of luck to him. He is a great defensive mind. The Jets have a defensive squad that could be one of the top in the league. Still, despite the 2-3 record, it's kind of a little harsh, I think. But that is what it is. But it's big because he was second to Kevin Stefanski getting the Browns job back in 2020. So, I mean, this was a guy that the Browns were very high on as well. Yeah, I mean, it is what it is. But, yeah, he will no longer. The defense coordinator, I don't have his name in front of me. Yeah. I can pull that up, though, real quick. He's going to be the interim coach for Saleh there.
You're right. 2-3. What are you, 2-3? You're right. That ain't
right.
That ain't.
They're talking about who could be next. Doug Peterson of the Jaguars, Brian Daboll of the Giants, former Browns coordinator.
I think he was 20 and like 37 or something overall.
Nick Sirianni of the Eagles. That one surprises me. I think that's too early to call. Matt Eberflus of the Bears. I mean, he just started getting some talent now. And then Kevin Stefanski's number 5 in CBS's top 5 that could go. Kind of a little harsher. But real quick, before we start making our picks, we got to talk about the Cleveland game there. One of the worst in the Stefanski era. Nothing went right. This is bad. I mean, he's never been 1-4 before.
17 third downs without making one.
0-17, yeah. I mean,
0-17.
It's ridiculous.
And a lot of drop passes.
The question is who to blame, all this and that. I'm going to blame both Stefanski and Watson on this one. Defense did not play great either. They missed a lot of tackles. But again, there's that argument. People were made. They were interviewing Patrick Peterson, who's going to be an NFL Hall of Famer. He retired, but eventually. And he was talking about, he said in the defense's defense, they're not getting enough rest time because this offense is worn out every time, my issue is, because people are asking who to blame here. Okay, Watson, he has his flashes. At the same time, I know the O-line is not holding their own, but at the same time, he's also not reading the defense well. If you know they're going to blitz, you got to make an adjustment before that ball is hiked. And he's not doing that, so that's tough there. Where Stefanski's fault is with the penalties, the communication between him and the quarterback.
You had 2 times, there was 12 men on the field.
Right.
2 times in that game.
Right. I mean, that's not good. The other thing, too, is this offensive play is reminding me of 2021 all over again, which was not a good offensive year. Shotgun, pass. They know you're going to do it. It happened. I know we always thought when we look at the 2021 season, we always say, well, Baker was hurt. It wasn't just that. He was hurt, and he kept calling. He had Nick Chubb, and he kept calling, pass. The memes of that time near the end of the season was people screaming at Stefanski to run the ball. He's got good running back, even with Chubb at 9. Ford's the most underrated running back in the league.
And he's not getting the ball.
He's not getting the ball constantly. You got to mix it up. Run the ball. Play action. Then do vertical passing. Mix it up a bit. But if they know you're in shotgun 70% of your plays, they know you're passing it. So they're going to make it, the defense go like, okay, pass defense now, and make the adjustment to deny your success of passing the ball, And it's just like... It's just 2021 over, which was not a good offensive unit. What Stefanski was good at was moving the ball downfield, taking time off the clock, whether it was running, short passes. Take the long pass if you can. But I'm watching film of the former quarterbacks. I'm watching old film of when the offense was working, and it just does not look like the same thing. Okay, I watched Baker Mayfield played very well last Thursday against the Falcons, okay? He was not the reason they lost. Hike. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. He's getting rid of the ball. Mm-hmm. I watched Joe Flacco with the Colts this past weekend. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. I watched Jacoby Brissett with the New England Patriots. 1, 2, 3. If he held on to it longer, because he got blitzed a lot too, and this was something Jacoby was good at in Cleveland. Shed the tackle, find the outlet guy real as fast as you can, hit him, you get 3-4 yards, but you don't get sacked. Okay? And that's what Watson was supposed to do well too, and it's not happening. Yeah. And I get the O-line has been shaky. It's had its moments. I will say Joe Bitonio and rookie Zach Zinter have been killing it. I'm not worried about Zinter at all. He's done a great job in the couple games he's played. But Watson's got to read that defense too. And there was something that somebody made a good point. When Watson was in Houston, okay, under what's his name? The former New England Patriots the offensive coordinator when he was coached there, Bill O'Brien. He had to switch to a college-run offense so Watson could have things clicking. Okay? Now, some people say, well, why can't we just do that? One, you're a pro quarterback getting $200+ million a year. You should know your coach's offense, study it, and master it. That's your job.
Yeah, but has he played long enough in Cleveland to know it?
Well, he's had time to study it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Two, you're a pro quarterback. You should be able to read the defenses. You're not going to always read them right. That's what forces turnovers. But you have to have an idea what's going on there. Three, I think that's why he was limited with success in Houston. He had good stats. They won games. But he also had years where he didn't win as many games. Also, Houston had an iffy defense at a time, too. But in the playoffs, things didn't click as well. Why? Because that defense is going, that's a college-run offense. We know how that works. So we're gonna plan for that. I think Cleveland dropped the ball big time with this whole thing.
The stupidest thing they ever did.
Right. And you could tell by his body language he doesn't
Cleveland's
want
done
it.
some stupid things in their history, but this is the stupidest.
Right. And you're wasting the talents of the good players already on this team. You have a great wide receiver squad. This is not their fault. It comes to, and I cannot stress enough, it is equal blame to Stefanski and Watson. This is not just Watson. Stefanski knows better. And here's where the changeup might come. He admitted to the media the other day he may hand some duties off to Ken Dorsey because Stefanski's called plays since day one, and it is a proven fact. That's a lot of toll on head coach to be the head coach and be the play caller at the same time.
You can't. Yeah,
and
he's running everything. You can't do that.
No.
That's why you hire assistant coaches. We got assistant coaches. They don't do nothing.
Van Pelt, his former O coordinators in New England, calling the plays. Their run game has been the best it's been in years. And I'm wondering, should we have kept that guy?
And it won't be long. Chubb will be back.
Right.
He's not.
But are they going to use him? They're in shotgun 70%. They already have Ford and Foreman who are good running backs. If Chubb comes back, are they going to hand the ball? And that's my problem. That you have to play tough football. You can't keep punting it away. You can't keep turning it away, and you got to cut the penalties too. You got to give your defense time to work because the defense. I know they gave up a lot last week, but as a whole, they haven't been bad. Yeah. I know that you might get specific. Well, they give up this amount of yards. This amount. There's still 4 and outs. There's still turnovers. They got a touchdown last week. Oh no, they didn't.
But
it was about the week
right
before.
Now, they're the only team in the NFL that has not scored at least 20 points.
Right. Worst offense in the NFL.
Worst offense in the NFL.
Joe Flacco threw for 371 yards this past week.
Every team at least scored 20 points except
the last
them.
Browns quarterback to throw for 300 yards was Joe Flacco. Watson's never thrown for 300. He had 285, I think, one game.
And this is the $240 million man.
Yes. So we got to make our picks, but that's my thoughts there. So they got to get together, or this will be bad. Because I will tell you, Bob, no matter what happens, if this season falls apart, I'm not going to speculate Stefanski getting fired or anything, but I will tell you this. If they're a top 10 pick, it's going to be a quarterback. It will be a quarterback. Week 6, Your bye week teams are the Kansas City Chiefs, the Miami Dolphins, the Los Angeles Rams, and the Minnesota Vikings. Thursday, October 10th, on Amazon Network, 8:15 p.m. at the San Francisco 49ers at the Seattle Seahawks, and 49ers are 3.5 game favorites. Bob, what do you think?
I'm going 49ers.
Let's go with the Niners. I'm going with Seattle. I love the way Seattle's been playing. They're at home. The Niners saw some weakness against the Cardinals. And by the way, Cardinals are underrated. They're not bad. I will say Seattle edges them out. I got Seattle winning that one.
I got San Francisco.
Sunday, October 13th, 9:30 a.m. in London, England.
Another London game?
Yep, NFL Network. The Jacksonville Jaguars are always in London every year against the Chicago Bears. Bears are 2.5 game favorites. Bob, what do you think?
Well, there's definitely no home field advantage, so I'll take the Bears.
He's going to take the Bears in this one. I am going to take Jacksonville by a point. And I know that sounds weird, but like a 17-16 game or something like that. I think the experience is good. I'll tell you, the Bears played very well last week. I'm not writing that off, but Jacksonville needs a win. They do well in London, okay? And
By George, I think I got it.
Right. I think this is going to be a close game. I think it'll be a fun game. And I think Lawrence is going to just edge out Williams here. So, yeah, back-to-back games, Bob. I'm going to disagree with you. I'm going with Jacksonville.
Back-to-back games.
There you go. 1 p.m. on Fox, the Cleveland Browns against the Philadelphia Eagles in Philly. Eagles are 8.5 game favorites. What do you think, Bob?
Boy, that's a tough one. I think the Eagles are going to kill them.
I'm taking the Eagles as well. Browns have not shown me anything different for me to pick them here. The beginning of the schedule has been very tough for them, and this is their last NFC East opponent. But I'm sorry, there's too much drama, there's too much negativity in Cleveland. Philly needs a win too. I think Philly's got this one. 1 p.m. on CBS, we got the Washington Commanders going to the Baltimore Ravens. Baltimore 6.5 games.
This could be a good game.
Yeah.
This could be a. I'm going to take Baltimore because they're home. But this could be a good game. This could go either way. I really believe that.
I'm going to take Washington. And the reason is I like this Washington defense a lot with Dan Quinn there. Bengals defense is not that good, and they did pretty well against Baltimore. Baltimore is showing that Baltimore's a solid team, but they might not be the team they were last year. Washington is definitely not the team they were last year. I'm going Washington, and I'll see by a touchdown.
I think it's going to be close.
Yeah. We're disagreeing a lot here. We've only agreed the Browns are going to lose. 1 p.m. on Fox, the Arizona Cardinals against the Green Bay Packers. We're in Lambeau. Bob, what do you think? And Packers are 5-point favorites.
I'm going to go with the Packs.
I will go with the Pack, but this is going to be a very good game. I told you Cardinals are underrated. Good defense. Kyler Murray is moving the ball overall pretty well, but Green Bay's moving the ball better. And I think Green Bay's going to get the edge here. I would say by 7 points. I'll say I'm going to go with Green Bay. 1 p.m. on CBS, you have the Houston Texans going to New England Patriots there in Foxborough. Houston is 7-point favorites. Bob, what do you think?
Houston.
I'm going Houston, too. Houston's working out some kinks still with the defense. Stroud's creating more turnovers than he did last year, but he's young. He'll improve. He'll get to it. But I got Houston rolling in this one. I think it'll be more than 7 points. 1 p.m. on Fox, we got the Tampa Bay Buccaneers at the New Orleans Saints. Bucks are 2.5 game favorites.
This is in New Orleans?
Yep.
I'm still going to take the Bucks. I like Mayfield.
I'm going to take the Bucks too. I just got a gut feel. Mayfield's playing very good. Bucks defense a little inconsistent. You don't know what you're going to see when you get out there. But I think this is a team they can hang with. It could be. I mean, I don't disagree with the 2.5 points, but I also see it being like a 5-point game or something like that. But I'm going to take the Buccaneers too. 1 p.m. on CBS. We don't know who's going to start under center for the Colts, but it could be Joe Flacco in Tennessee against the Tennessee Titans. Colts are 1-point favorites. Bob, what do you think?
I'm going to go with the home team, Tennessee.
He's going Tennessee here, okay? We're going to have another disagreement because I'm going to go with the Colts. I like the way they've been playing lately. And Tennessee's got some stuff to work out with. I do think Colts are going to win more than one. I got them by 10 or 13 points in this one.
Well, they only give him one.
They only gave him one, yeah.
1 point. That's all the bookies are giving them. I mean, I'm sorry. For amusement only, numbers. Okay.
Yeah, exactly. But I'm going with the Colts. 4:05 p.m. on CBS. The Los Angeles Chargers are going in Denver to play on the Broncos. Chargers are 3-point favorites. Bob, what do you think?
I'm going with Chargers.
I'm going to go with the Chargers, too. Denver's they're getting better. They're part of a rebuild right now. Some things are doing better than others. My gut just says that Harbaugh is going to be more prepared in this one, regardless who's going to be under center, because I guess Herbert's a little banged up, but it is what it is. 4:05 p.m. on CBS, the Pittsburgh Steelers at the Las Vegas Raiders. We're in Vegas. Steelers
I'm going to tell you what.
are
This is going to be a good
favored
one.
by 3.
Steelers are favored by 3?
Yeah.
I'm going with the Raiders.
He's going with the Raiders.
I'm going with the Raiders. The
He-
black and gold is going to, the black and silver is going to beat the black and gold.
There you go. I would love to see it. I hope you're right. I'm going with the Steelers, though, in this one. I think there's going to be a lot of Steelers fans there. It's going to look like that Atlanta game where there was just a ton of
See,
Steelers.
the Steeler fans ain't going to be in the stands. They're going to be at the casino.
I think the Steelers have a little bit more than the Raiders at this point, and I got Pittsburgh winning. I know I was happy to see Cowboys beat them in a delayed Sunday night game, but I don't think it's going to happen here. 4:25 p.m. on Fox, the Atlanta Falcons going into Carolina to take on the Panthers. Falcons are 6-point favorites. Bob, what do you think?
Atlanta.
I'm going with Atlanta, too. I think they're going to roll. I think this is going to be a bad one for Carolina. 4:25 p.m. on Fox. This one's going to be a good one. Detroit Lions at the Dallas Cowboys. Detroit's 3.5 game favorites. What do you think, Bob?
You know what? I'm gonna go with Detroit.
I'm going to agree with him. I think Detroit's defense shows up. I think they limit Prescott what he can do. I got Detroit win, but I do think it could be a 3-4 point game. 8:20 p.m. Waiting all day for Sunday night, and I can't believe you waited all day for this Sunday night matchup. The Cincinnati Bengals are at the New York Giants.
Oh, this is going to be the best game of the week, man. This is the best game.
Who picked this one? Who scheduled that?
This is going to be the best game of the week here.
Cincinnati's fair by 3.5. Bob picked.
I'm going to go with the Bengals.
I'm going with the Bengals too. I think it'll be more than 3 points. I do. Giants will hang out there for most of this. Bengals will break away. I think that I got them by 10. And last but not least, Monday Night Football. We only have one game this time. Okay, one game. ESPN, 8:15 p.m. We have the Buffalo Bills going into the southern part of New York to take on the new head coach of the New York Jets. Bills favored by 2.5 points. Bob, what are you thinking?
I'm going to go with the Bills.
I'm going to go with the Bills, too. I think it's going to be a close game. It could be by 3 points. But I just think this was the wrong time to fire Saleh. If Saleh was still under, the head coach, I might take the Jets by an edge. But given all the drama that's happened this morning...
You got a new well, of course, I'm sure the intern coach coming in. So the system ain't going to change much.
Right.
But there could be a couple changes.
I do think, I'll tell you this, there's rumors they're going to trade for Devontae Adams. If they successfully link Rodgers and Adams up again, I think it's going to help them more than people think. I get they're both older now, but Adams is still very dominant, and Rodgers still has enough in the tank to get through at least a season. So, but I'm not saying Super Bowl or anything crazy, but that's that. Hey, we got to wrap it up, guys. Thank you for listening. Seriously, next week, we'll see if the Guardians are still with us. It's going to be a very tough matchup, but if they are, we'll talk about it. We'll know they would be an ALCS if they are still with us.
If they take the next 2 out of 3, they'll go to the ALCS.
We'll know for sure by Monday.
Well, Saturday we'll know vice versa.
Yeah.
We'll know for next show taping.
We'll see if the Browns make us cry more. We'll see if the Ohio State makes us smile. And
let's see if the Zips will make us smile too.
Yes. So that being said, we'll take off. Hey guys, be safe. Enjoy the fall weather. Enjoy the games. And as always, we're going to say go Guardians and go Buckeyes. I think those are the two that deserve it right here. So
until next week.
Have a good one.